Hi, this is Anna Imagination with a Healing Garden, and welcome to the Narcissistic Pandemic. Today, I'm going to be talking about a very difficult, sensitive topic, but, well, it's ugly and it's real, so let's do this. Protecting our children under narcissistic rule. This is not fucking easy. There's a lot of things that are done here instinctively. As the protector, as somebody who's aware of the narcissistic problem, you are living under basically terrorist rule. And you probably have already mastered the art of choreographing the dance and the ballet to make sure that everyone moves according to the narcissist's rules. One of the hardest things that I had to figure out was feeding my children. The narcissist, my ex-husband, was starved as a child. I mean, starved. So that he hoarded food and he made sure that food was regulated to an extremely horrific level in my home. We had 2 refrigerators, 2 chest freezers, 3 pantries. Food was abundant. It was obnoxious. And my children, under no circumstances, were allowed any of it. In secret, I put together a secret food stash inside each of their bedrooms with the full instructions that they were to hide the food, eat the food, whatever they needed, whenever they wanted it. Because way too many times, my ex-husband used food terrorism as a method to punish or control my children. I cannot begin to tell you some of the things he did to my children when it came to food. That being said, it left all of my children, including myself, with significant food trauma. The rule of thumb now is you only eat what makes you comfortable. If you are not comfortable, then you don't eat it. It doesn't matter if it's perfectly fine. They throw it away, and that's okay. He prioritized the food no matter what. As a result, I had to figure out these little things to basically preserve the child inside the atmosphere. In addition to that, when my son was sent to live with his uncle for what was supposed to be a week, maybe 2 for the holidays, they ended up keeping him for 4 months. I had to finally drive up 3 hours away and physically extract him. When I did that, they had chains on the refrigerator, lock and key, and he was too afraid to even ask for water. When I say I came from a slave society, I mean it. There were weeks that I was trying to negotiate the release of my son with my brother and then my father. And those conversations, because I was stuck in New York City at that time, consisted of, I want my son back home. Well, no, he's this. And they gaslit me and they put me through a whole bunch of bullshit. And my son sat there and texted me. At the time, I was also living with my own narcissist. And I was managing and navigating my own daughter and myself under the safety to keep us safe under this narcissist here, while also giving my son instruction on how to navigate his narcissist. I am thrilled to announce that when I did extract my son, the mental damage on my son was very minimal because I was able to identify and manage it. So this is where you and I are going to really dig deep into the brain, and I'm going to show you what happens inside the subconscious mind, because you need to know what parts of your subconscious mind need to be kept safe. The narcissist attacks the perspective. 100%. That's all they do. They attack the perspective. They attack the perspective with definition of love. If you love me, you would. That's not true. That is an attack on your definition of love. They attack your ethics. They will tell you what you should or shouldn't do. The words should and shouldn't do is a deliberate attack on your ethics. And then They say things like, that's not what happened. Now they are deliberately attacking your ability to assess and judge a situation. So when you have all of these elements combined, your entire cognitive core, your entire perspective is what's under attack. The goal is to hijack your subconscious mind and turn it against you. They weaponize your subconscious mind against you. Knowing this allows you to be one step ahead of them. You need to make sure that your perspective stays unaltered. You need to be able to recognize when an attack is being done on your subconscious mind. Now, your subconscious mind is going to go with whoever has, this is it, and this is it, because this is all on you now. This is it. When somebody tries to pull your subconscious mind away from you, the only thing that is working for you in your favor is your self-confidence. How much do you believe in yourself? Now, this is what I did with my son. Narcissist here, me over here, my son in the middle. Mom, they told me X. I purposely contradicted the narcissist. Purposely contradict the narcissist. And then I purposely reaffirmed my son's perspective. I provided myself to my son to become his self-confidence because he needed a compass. That's the problem. Your self-confidence and your identity are your compass. That is solid. That is your grounding rods. Those are the things that are just securing you right into the ground. Your identity and your confidence. This is your ethics. This is you. This is all you, grounding you right solid. And your subconscious mind is going to stay with you. No problem until a subconscious or a narcissist comes along and tries to tell you otherwise. Now it becomes a battle of verses. It's your identity and confidence versus their words. How strong is your identity and how strong is your confidence? Because the minute they start pulling at your subconscious mind is going to go with whomever is stronger. But your subconscious mind is just a yo-yo. We're going to set the subconscious mind aside for a minute. This is now a battle between you, your identity, your confidence versus the narcissist. That's the real battle. Your identity needs to be grounded. Your self-confidence has to be solid. Because when they start gaslighting you and when they start telling you what you should or shouldn't do, if you don't label their words properly, that subconscious mind is going to betray you in a heartbeat. In addition, there is, once the subconscious mind turns on you, now you end up with your own defense system working and weaponizing against you. So it becomes harder. Now, instead of just fighting the narcissist, you also have to fight your own subconscious mind, your own fear system, your own guilt system. And when you're doing that, the job becomes a million times harder. So while you're doing all of this, while you're building up this kind of a defense, it comes back to how strong is your identity, how strong is your self-confidence. Now, your children have the same mechanism inside of them, the same system. They have the same cognitive core. The narcissist comes along and it's going to attack your children's identity and confidence and subconscious mind. And now it's the child's identity and self-confidence versus the narcissist. Now, here's the problem. A child is at a disadvantage because a child has been conditioned that they don't know better. That's the gaslight. You're a child. You don't know better. That's the gaslight. The child does know better. The child is quite capable of ethics by the time they are 4 years old. Children at 4 years old, oh, they know right and wrong. Absolutely. Now, if they're stuck in the third perspective, Oh, that's another story. But if you have a child still who's in the first and the second perspective, a child who's in the fourth perspective, a child who's in the fifth or the sixth perspective, and that narcissist comes along and starts to whittle away at that child's identity and confidence, it becomes a face-off. But that one solid, you're a child, you don't know better, is really what's going to become the problem. That's really going to be the issue. So the best thing you can do to defend your child in this case is reaffirm, validate your child. Validate. Yes, that is correct. Validate it. You are right. You are perceiving the situation properly. Validate the fuck out of that child. There is a story I read that really sits hard with me that I love to share with people. It was one of the wars back, I can't remember which one, Vietnam, Korean, or World War II, I'm not sure which. A captain was taken prisoner of war. And he was the leading officer. And the prisoners were thrown in there over the years. He was a prisoner for 4 years, 6 years, many years. And it was his job, he felt, because he was the senior ranking officer, that the prisoners were his responsibility. And he noticed that if they reached a certain level of hopelessness, they would kill themselves. So he developed this belief, this realization, psychologically speaking, that they required to maintain hope. And that's when he noticed that if he was unrealistic about the hope, they became optimistic, and then they would plunge into depression later and kill themselves. So he then realized that the art of surviving in a prison, in a hopeless situation, in a terrorist situation, is a fine balance between being hopeful that the situation will end and being realistic about what the current reality is. Yes, you are in a bad situation, and it will get better one day. Realistically, we don't know when. Hopeful, but it will get better. This will end. Realistic, but the situation is bad. Yes. You want to maintain that level of hope and realistic and a nice balance between the two of them so that you remain grounded and realistic, so that your perspective remains aligned and solid in the proper situation. And you want to maintain enough hopefulness that this will not last forever. Whatever situation you are in, this applies. If it's a bad situation, this applies. Nothing lasts forever, not even cold November rain. Stay hopeful. Be realistic. Absolutely be realistic. That is the formula you are going to need to teach your children when they are in, if they are in this kind of a situation. Keep them grounded. Validate that what their perspective is right. Nurture their identity. Nurture their confidence. That is what's going to ground them to the proper situation. Reassure them that the situation will change. The situation will end. Yes, it is fucking bad, and you're working on it. You are working on it, and you're going to get them out of there. Do their best. Keep them safe, whatever means necessary. Your goal needs to be, unfortunately, keep the narcissist happy. We're going to do a little trick. It's called reverse psychology on the narcissist, okay? No sarcasm, no facetiousness. The narcissist will know. The narcissist will pick up on that. Don't do this. This is a rescue mission. So those are the first rules. Yeah, you are using reverse psychology on the narcissist, but don't get cheeky. It's absolutely important that this remains secret, because the minute the narcissist realizes that you are trying an escape, that's when they become the most rabid of dogs, because now you threaten their security, you threaten their control. That's fine, but don't let them know that, because that's when they become most dangerous and most unpredictable. So the situation, aside from validating the identity, validating the confidence, and validating the reality, is the reverse psychology on the narcissist. To do reverse psychology, you basically want to be 100% agreeable, but it's a mindset. You're not actually being agreeable. You are just playing along and placating the narcissist to buy you time. Yes, your children also need to placate. And the goal, again, is to keep everyone safe until you can do the extraction. I do not know if there is physical abuse. Don't wait, get the fuck out. If there is sexual abuse, don't wait, get the fuck out. Those are, don't wait, get the fuck out. Don't wait, get the fuck out. I'm going to just throw it out here because it's so vital. The big thing is you have things in your subconscious mind that are trained in you from childhood to seek out a master. Be aware of that, because that is where your subconscious mind is going to try and sabotage. Oh, you have to have a master. Oh, you have to obey. Oh my God, no one's going to love you. The toxic belief that's inside your head, if you placate or if you are with a narcissist, is the fact that you have confused love for being needed. This is really going to hurt. And this is it right here. This is codependency. The concept of being needed equals love in your brain. That is exactly where you keep attracting narcissists. You don't associate love with anything other than being needed. Love is confused and associated with being accepted, being visible. That's really what you're dealing with. The feeling in love feeling, the euphoria that you feel when you first fall in love, is actually excitement and joy for being visible. It's euphoria for being seen. Oh my God, somebody loves me somewhere. And we're going to work on that. We're going to use this whole program is going to be digging that out and changing that toxic belief. But be aware of it. Absolutely be aware of it, because that right there is what's causing all of this. And when you go to leave and you get out of the situation and the narcissist swings back and you have the desire to run back to him, it's because your subconscious mind is kicking in with that, oh my God, but he needs to need you. Oh my God, but no one's going to love you. Then what's going to happen? And coupled with the lack of confidence that you might be struggling with, and that lack of confidence fuels things like, well, I can't survive on my own. Yes, you can. That is the delusion that the narcissist has given you to make you think you can't without them. We're going to be covering that too. So for the children, it's going to be reverse psychology, placate the narcissist, play along, keep them happy. Narcissism is a trigger, like a PTSD trigger. This is why some people are really nice and then they flip and they're narcissists. That's not it. It's a behavioral defense. Narcissism is a self-love defense. So you can have a narcissist who acts perfectly fine until they're triggered. It's the trigger that sets them off. Once you understand this, try and identify what the narcissist's triggers are. Think of it more as PTSD and not as narcissist. Really, it's helpful if you think about narcissism more as PTSD, except their triggers turn on the self-defense of narcissism instead of PTSD. So identify what is triggering the narcissist. What elements immediately trigger that person? Now, here's the dirty little secret of narcissism that no one wants to hear about. The number one trigger with a narcissist is children. Children trigger narcissists. The reason why children trigger narcissists is because the ultimate conditioning of a narcissist happens at childhood by the parents saying, you need to serve me, or I need you. It's that mother and narcissist child. It's the mother-child codependency that feeds it. As a result, when a narcissist sees a child, they immediately remember and associate that narcissistic relationship when they were children, when humility was used against them as a weapon, when being a child meant they had no control. It is very much fueled on the belief that you're a child, you don't know anything. So the child grows up idolizing adulthood, thinking, well, when I'm an adult, I'll finally have authority. A narcissist has a pursuit and an agenda of authority. That is what drives them. It is their agenda. Get the authority. And they've got the authority when they become an adult, and they flaunt that authority and they throw it all over. But then they get their hands on a child, they're around a child, and that triggers the association. And immediately they go, oh, I don't have the authority. Now they feel threatened because they see a child and they are reminded of when they were children. And that's why, in most cases, children are targeted by narcissists, is because children trigger a narcissist. It's one of their triggers. So once you understand that, that's part of what they're dealing with. The best thing is just keep your child away from the narcissist as much as possible. Get them enrolled in after school activities. Get them out of the house. Get them away from it. Get them over to sleepovers as much as possible. Because part of that trigger is very much the narcissist seeing the child and just being triggered because it's being reminded, which is why we have adults who, when they have children, when you are a child, they're horrible. But then you grow up and the parent calms down. And then you're going, what the fuck? Why are they so nice? They weren't nice when I was a kid. It's because children trigger narcissists. So figure out all of the triggers, and then it's going to become a dance to make sure that your children and all of these triggers are kept away from the narcissist. That will diffuse a lot of the situations. Yes, you're going to be dancing a little bit longer, but again, it's reverse psychology. You are dancing this time with you having the control, because you are now taking control of the situation and you're dancing with the purpose to escape. And that's a whole different dance. Now you're the one in charge. Identity and confidence, yours and the children. Those are the two anchors that absolutely rescue you and keep you safe from narcissism. Strengthen your identity, strengthen your confidence. As far as the identity, it is absolutely a celebration of what you love and who you are and what your ethics are. Know that. Gratitude journal. I have the Healing Garden Starter Pack. This is free. And go ahead and message me, comment, ask for the starter pack, and it literally provides you with everything you need to groom you into your identity and re-nurture your confidence and your defense system. Absolutely, it's available. If you subscribe to my newsletter, you get it automatically. So that's something that's available. But if you're wanting my Healing Garden Starter Pack, that's all it does. It nurtures the identity. It nurtures the self. It defines you by giving you name. It shows you how to find your names, and it revalidates who you are and what you are. And in addition, I also have communication and boundary classes where I teach you how to use your defense system. Now, that is where confidence comes from. So it's vital. And again, this is all free. So take a look at my other podcasts. Take a look. I have all the resources. If you go to the Healing Garden University on my podcasts, you'll see all of these different elements. And that is enough. That is definitely substantially enough for you to piece together pretty much everything you need to start building confidence with your identity definition and your defense system and being able to communicate and using boundaries. Now, boundaries are not going to work on a narcissist. In fact, if you try and throw a boundary at them, that's going to turn them into a tyrannical mess. Boundaries is the other trigger to a narcissist. So keep that in mind also. That's something else you're going to want to, again, placate, reverse psychology. You're going to find an underground mission of control. I'll tell you, when I switched my mind around, when I realized I was going to be extracting my children, one of the things I did, it was May of 2020. The narcissist loved to threaten kicking me out. That was the number one control thing. Well, you can go find another place to live. Well, you need to go find another place to live. So in May of 2020, I was kicked out in August of 2020. May of 2020, I went out and bought myself my own apartment. Just got an apartment. And I came home one day and I said, well, it's done. I got an apartment. And he immediately went, what? Dead silent. Like just, he shut right down. He never threatened that again. Never. Because then it was real. He wanted to know why. It was a fight. I said, because I got tired of hearing you tell me to go find another place to live. That threatened my home, that threatened my security. I solved that problem. Now I have a place. So if you want to threaten it, I'm okay. He never threatened it again. I took back my control. So there's like lots of little tricks like that. And that's a huge one. That's it right there. Don't wait until they kick you out to be, oh shit, now where am I going to go? Start making the plans now. Start getting a job now. Start finding employment now. Start putting plans together now. And if they have any questions about why, you're going to have two kinds of a narcissist. You're going to have the kind of narcissist who's going to make comments about you finally doing something and how it's going to relieve their pressure and they're going to be thrilled. And if you need to, you can make excuses like, well, I just want my own spending money or I want to help out with the bills. Helping out with the bills is a nice one because that'll, yeah, try using that one. The flip side of all of this is the one who has so much control that you're not allowed to get a job. I've been in those situations as well. And now it's just a matter of communicating with anyone so that you can get yourself out. If you are in that kind of a situation, if you are in a full situation where you can't even get out, book a call with me. Book a call with me. And we'll talk. We'll go from there. Yeah, book a call with me. Book a call with me. As far as the children goes and as far as yourself, it's all on that identity and the confidence. So we'll go ahead and put that together. And again, if you want the Healing Garden Starter Pack, just comment on the video that you want it and we'll figure something out. I can email it to you. If you subscribe to my newsletter, as I said, you get it right away. So I think that is it. And my newsletter, by the way, is like the Megaphone Amphitheater. So if you just drop your email address below, you'll get right to the link and then you'll get it right away. So that's another possibility. I think that covers everything on this. But it's, again, that hope and realism, keeping those balanced, and keep tiptoeing, encourage the children. And so one of the things that really helped with me and my son is I turned it into, and same thing with my daughter. I'll tell you. So, Cards Against Humanity. With my daughter, one of my favorite cards, not one of the favorite card, the best card in Cards Against Humanity is Sad Little Fat Dragon with No Friends. So when we lived with a narcissist who lived here, we called him the Sad Little Fat Dragon with No Friend. So every time he went into a narcissistic episode, my daughter and I giggled. Oh, the sad fat little dragon with no friends is upset again. And we would make jokes about it to lighten the mood. That helped a lot. He went from being a scary beast of a narcissist to this pathetic little sad pouting dragon in our minds. And that really, really helped, giving the name to label that. That really helped. And then the flip side of all of that was, yep, he's throwing another tantrum. Yep, he is a miserable person and he is throwing another tantrum. So there was a lot of validating that he is an unhappy, horrible human being and he's throwing another tantrum because that's what they have to do. And then flip side of that with my son would call me up and he's like, Mom, this is what they're doing. Okay, we're going to get you out of there. We're going to walk through this. You are right. They are wrong. Well, they said this. That's right. Do you know what gaslighting looks like? This is what gaslighting looks like. If they say these words to you, if you hear should or shouldn't, that's what they're doing. And I broke it all down for my son and I let him know, look, this is how it goes. This is what it looks like. So educate your children. Education is going to be key to keeping you safe. The more you are educated, this is something that's really fucking huge. Mental illness is a result of a lack of education. It is literally a consequence. Mental illness is a consequence to a lack of education. It's why my YouTube videos are so education driven, is because mental illness is caused by a lack of education, a lack of knowledge, and a lack of the verbiage, a lack of the words. Once you have knowledge and once you have the words, you can just name the trauma, comprehend it, process what's going through, and immediately it slides right through the processing center and it's done. It doesn't get stuck in processing. When things get stuck in processing, mental illness as a result. That's why we ruminate, is because we're stuck in processing. We're stuck in processing because we lack education and we lack the vocabulary to communicate what it is we need to say. So that's my goal here, is getting you the education you need and the words you need so you can understand what's going on, so you can process, so your mental illness will just go away. It's toxic beliefs. You basically have to change your toxic beliefs. But in order to do that, you have to understand what's being done to you. To do that, you have to process, you have to understand that they are abusing you and how they're doing it, which is why a lot of people turn to shadow work. Don't do that. Because without the vocabulary and without the education, you're just going to be spinning in the same trauma over and over again for years, not understanding it, because you are seeking the naming. You are seeking the naming and the understanding. So you get the understanding through education and you get the naming through the words, and then it slides right through. It's beautiful. So help your children to understand what's going on by educating them and giving them the words they need. Yeah, that's right. They are a miserable person. You are right. It's very important that you validate the child. So, and validate yourself. You are part of this. So you validate you, educate yourself, strengthen your id and your confidence. Get my Healing Garden starter pack. Go check out my other classes under the Healing Garden University so you can start learning the communication that you need, so you can start doing what you need with this. We're going to go over communication so you can start boundary setting and all that jazz. Don't do that on the narcissist. That's going to trigger them. Understanding what triggers a narcissist, the children, the boundaries, humility. Oh my God, keep humility away from the narcissist. The humility is their primary trigger. Humility. They were absolutely humiliated as children, which is why they can't get help, is because you have to be humble. You have to accept humility to say, I was wrong. The process of I was wrong is accepting humility, but humility is their number one trigger. So they're actually avoidant triggering the very thing that's going to get them out of narcissism, which is why they never get out of narcissism, is because the solution to narcissism is their trigger. Yeah, that is pretty much it for keeping your children safe. Again, if there's physical or sexual violence, get the fuck out. We're going to switch that over to a whole nother level of extraction. But yeah, that's a whole nother problem. All right. Thank you so much. I do hope this is helpful. So thank you so much. If you like shit like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want more shit like this, take a look at my megaphone for my amphitheater, which is code for newsletter. And if you want more shit like this in an organized, detailed fashion that is designed with purpose to solve your problems or obstacles, take a look at my masterclasses. The links are all down below. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.